Hello again, welcome to Loch Tay in Scotland. You've joined me on the loch side at Kenmore on the eastern end of this picturesque loch in the heart of Scotland. We're going to take a journey around the loch today by car, and along the way I'll show you some interesting sites and locations. Hey, there's the first one already, the tiny little Isle of Spar with its small number of trees just offshore. Don't worry, it gets much better than this though. To begin this journey we're actually going to backtrack a bit up the road to Aberfeldy. Hold on, I'll show you where we're at on the map. So here's where we are, stood on the banks of Loch Tay at Kenmore, and here's Aberfeldy, about 9 kilometres away. Aberfeldy is a lovely Scottish town and well worth a visit, and can make a great base to explore the area. Not to be missed is the Birks of Aberfeldy and the Monez Falls, and I have a video about that walk on my channel, so check that out after this one. One of the interesting buildings in Aberfeldy is this Art Deco designed cinema called the Birks, named of course after the walk I just mentioned. Originally constructed in 1939 and having closed in 2004, it's been reopened in 2013 after the funds were raised by local residents to restore the building. What a great job they've done. I could make a whole video about Aberfeldy alone, but for this one we're going to check out some more notable sites around Loch Tay, ones that are a bit off the beaten path perhaps. We'll leave Aberfeldy in a moment, but not before we visit the Black Watch Memorial located on the banks of the River Tay. The monument, unveiled in 1887, is a massive cairn, topped with a statue of Private Farquhar Shaw, a member of the original regiment. The cairn bears inscriptions honouring the regiment's formation and its distinguished service in various battles. And right next to it, spanning across the river, is the impressive Wade's Bridge, built in 1733 to a design by William Adam, one of Scotland's most prominent architects of the time. The bridge was a key part of General Wade's efforts to improve infrastructure in the Highlands following the Jacobite uprising. It provided a crucial crossing point for troops and supplies, reinforcing government control over the region, and it's still in use today, almost 300 years later. We're going to leave Aberfeldy now and head along the road to Kenmore to rejoin Loch Tay, but as we do, we're going to stop along the road to visit the Croft Moraig stone circle, which is 6 kilometres out from Aberfeldy. Very easy roadside parking close to the Croft. It's an impressive prehistoric stone circle, considered to be one of the most significant Neolithic and Bronze Age sites in the region, dating back to around 3000 to 2000 BCE. The circle consists of 3 concentric rings of stones, with the outer ring measuring about 12 metres in diameter. Some stones are over 2 metres tall, and while the current thinking is that this was a religious or perhaps burial site, its true meaning has been lost to history. After heading along the road back to Kenmore, we're now stood looking at Kenmore Church. Built in 1760 in a Georgian architectural style, it has a wooden arch welcoming visitors to the church grounds. On it is a plaque stating how the arch was built, in memory of the Queen, 1837 to 1901, Queen Victoria obviously. But turn around and you'll see the War Memorial and the main section of Kenmore, dominated on the left by the Kenmore Hotel, said to be Scotland's oldest inn as it dates back to 1572 and has connections to Robert Burns, as he had supposedly stayed there when he visited the area. But also unmissable is the grand entrance to Taymouth Castle, called the Kenmore Gate. The castle is privately owned and not accessible at the moment, but you can pass under the Grand Gate, which was likely to have been built sometime between 1806 and 1820. Before we leave Kenmore, we're just going to nip round the corner to check out Maxwell's temple. To get there we need to cross the River Tay over the Kenmore Bridge. Not as old as Wade's Bridge, but is still very old, having been built in 1774. Apparently, a portion of the funding for this bridge's construction was donated by King George III. Anyway, we skirted by the mains of Taymouth Country Golf Course to find the temple in the woods. If you're looking for this on Google Maps, then it's called the Eleanor Cross 1831, said to be a replica of one of the 12 Eleanor crosses built in 1291 by Edward I to mark the journey of Queen Eleanor's funeral procession from Lincoln to Westminster Abbey after her death. As the name would suggest, this monument was constructed in 1831 when John Campbell, the 8th Earl of Breadalbane, owned the land here. However, locally it's called Maxwell's Temple, and this may be due to an association with the Maxwell family who were influential on the estate's design, so its name is a bit of a mystery. Strange too is that it's open to climb up some very narrow stairs to balance on a very slippy platform. No safety barriers here, so be careful. Our next stop is up a steep farm track. We're heading out of Kenmore along the southern shore of the Loch to Acharn. Here we parked our car and climbed up to a mysterious hermit's cave and the Falls of Acharn. It's not clear if a hermit actually ever lived in this cave in the past, but as we enter into its darkness you can hear the sound of the waterfall close by. And as you make a turn inside the cave, you come out at a wonderful observation deck that gives a perfect view of the falls. They are impressive, as is the observation deck. Wonderful place to relax and enjoy the falls. But as we had to move on, we turned to return through the spooky cave and emerge into a landscape filled with fog, perhaps an omen for our next destination, because we are heading to a movie set and the lair of a ferocious beast. Our next stop is to the old copper mines of Tomnadashan. It's not easy to park near here, perhaps a sign to keep away, but why is it so dangerous here? Well, this mine has another name, the Cave of Cairbannog, made famous when Monty Python visited the mine to film a scene for the film The Holy Grail. At this very spot, King Arthur and his men battled the beast and resorted to using the holy hand grenade upon it. Wonderfully, someone has left a 3D printed version of the holy hand grenade beside a shrine to the rabbit monster that lives inside the mine. It was really great to see the shrine to the beast and explore the really interesting mine. Thankfully we made it out alive, as the rabbit of Caerbannog was thankfully not at home today. Although, as the fog rolled in, we decided to make a hasty exit. next stop is Cairn to see the famous falls of Dochart. These cascading falls are a famous tourist attraction and mark the westmost part of Loch Tay. This is also where we cross the Dochart Bridge to the northern bank of the loch. The bridge too is famous, having been built in 1760 and still offering safe passage across the falls today. Also, it provides access to the Clan MacNab burial island, which sadly was closed today. The falls are impressive, especially with this amount of water flowing, mainly due to us being here in early January and it had rained heavily overnight. But move on we must, and it's not that far to our next destination, Finlarig Castle. Through the trees this ruined castle comes into view. It's free to enter the castle ruin and walk among its crumbling corridors. An original building stood here from the 1400s and was extended and improved later in 1609 by Sir Duncan Campbell. An interesting thing to see here is the crest above the main door, not of Clan Campbell as you might believe, but rather the royal coat of arms of King James VI of Scotland and his wife Queen Anne of Denmark. This castle is also known for its grim reputation, as it reportedly had a beheading pit in the grounds, used for execution of the enemies of the Campbells. Also, Sir John Campbell, the senior, in 1523 decided he wanted to be buried at Finlarig, and he was to become the first clan chief to be buried here, and all subsequent chiefs of the clan are also at rest here in a burial chapel. It was later remodelled into a mausoleum, which is what you see today here lying in ruins. The Campbell crest is adorned above the mausoleum doorway to this day. All chiefs were buried here until the last one in 1923. However, Sir Gavin Campbell and his wife Lady Alma rest in graves beside the mausoleum. There's more incredible history of this castle, so a visit is well worth it to discover more yourself. We've been on the go all day now and it's time to get some food, so we're off to the Boathouse, located at Milton Moornish. There's a small harbour here with a couple of boats and a lot of friendly ducks. But of course we're here to grab something to eat at the wonderful Boathouse Restaurant, which has one of the most amazing views from your dining table. And the food was awesome too, with us choosing the Maxwell haggis cake starter, the bacon cheeseburger and fries main course, and the chocolate fudge cake for dessert. All absolutely fabulous flavours and presentation, highly recommended, and no, I'm not paid to say that. We had a great time at the Boathouse, and by the time we'd finished, and with the short Scottish days at this time of year, the light was beginning to fade. Yet we had one more stop to make on our journey, and it's a bit of a drive from here, back towards Aberfeldy. This is the famous Castle Menzies, a fortified 16th century mansion house and of course the Clan Menzies seat for over 500 years. It was built in 1571 by Sir James Menzies, and in 1746 the castle hosted Bonnie Prince Charlie, who was on his way to the Battle of Culloden, where he lost mind you. Anyway, the light's gone now and that brings us to the end of our day's adventure around Loch Tay. Thank you for coming with us and I hope you liked this video. Remember to like and subscribe and I'll see you on my next video somewhere else in the world. See ya!